Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is me, Jordan Young, aka Sneakonomics, back with another banger. In today's episode, I'm finally going to be taking you guys through my sneaker collection, or at least doing a part one. This video has definitely been a long time coming. I've been on YouTube now for almost a year, and I can't believe it's taken me almost that long to finally share with you guys my sneaker collection, but here we are. To be honest, I really should have done this like a month or two ago because I've actually been selling some sneakers from my collection, and I definitely would have had a much more impressive collection had I done this a month ago, but here we are. Let me first take you guys through my little sneaker room slash studio setup. Okay, so coming into the sneaker room, this is the basic setup. Well, this is just not the basic setup, this is the setup. So right here is the kind of focal point of the sneaker room. These three Billy bookshelves that have most of the sneakers on display. There's something like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 20. There's like, say 30 pairs kind of down each column here. And one thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the Billy bookshelf here that I have actually installed incorrectly. So instead of having the flush, flat, white part on the outside, I put this together wrong, which was so stupid because yeah, this bit here is facing the wrong way. So I just thought I'd point that out just in case any of you guys that are OCD have noticed that from any of my vids. But yeah, that was an L because otherwise it's pretty well put together. What else can I show you? So I've got my lights. This was my first light here, the little ring light jobby. And since becoming huge on YouTube, I've been able to afford these lights here, which basically, when you're watching my YouTube vids, light up the background here. And then I got this big light here, which, oh man, ironically enough, in my opinion, does a poorer job than that light there, the OG ring. There's the microphone stand and the setup, which when you're watching my videos, because I'm such an amateur, you guys can actually sometimes see this thing poking into frame because that's how we do. And then I've got one more light here, so total professional setup here. So I've got like 4 lights, man. Like, I'm not messing around. I've got another little display over here, some Ghost wall-mounted shelves. As you can see, I got the Supreme Gons ball, the Bape Spalding. We've got some Kobe's here. In the corner, I've got a few LeBrons from the collection. I've got a few watches as well. I'm not like a hardcore watch collector, but you know, got things like the Casio G-Shock. My missus actually got gifted this by Bape directly. My missus used to work for Formula One, and she actually put the collaboration with Bathing Ape and Formula One together. She was in Hypebeast magazine. Big shout out the Mrs. Sneakonomics. And so I've got a few like Bape Swatch watches. I'm not like a hardcore collector or anything like that, but I've got a few little cheeky watches. And then this is the sort of jacket collection. I used to have a few Supreme jackets. Now I've just got, this is like my favorite one, the North Face, the Leaves. You guys remember when Supreme was popping? This is a pretty cool jacket. This is the Bape Puma collab, the manager's jacket. Love this jacket as well. These are like 2 of my favorite jackets ever. And then this one, the Supreme North Face, the Mountain Boltero or something. Got this one for retail back in the sort of zenith of the Supreme hype. And then down here, I've got like a few older Bathing Ape hoodies. Sorry, the light's a bit shit. Got some like old school Bathing Ape hoodies, you know, a few hoodies, love my hoodies. But yeah, that's the basic setup. Now, you're probably wondering, bro's got all these shoes, where are the boxes? So this is where I keep all the boxes. I've had to switch to my phone camera because my normal camera does not pick up anything in here with the light. And so here you go, wow, heaps of boxes. And quite a few loose shoes up here as well. See these, the Jordan Too Low Women's 2005. Got the Tom Sexual Harassments. Bro, check these out, man. These are like 2001. black infrareds. You might be thinking, bro, what do you got those lying around for up here? Well, I've got them up here because they are done. So these need a midsole swap. And these are actually some OGs. These are 1991 wide infrareds that, yeah, I was supposed to start restoring, but nah. 01 mochas as well. These also need a sole swap. So yeah, I've got the types of shoes up here that are waiting patiently for some much needed attention. But what I will do is I will bring you guys up here again in maybe a part 2 to take you guys through some of the sneakers that are up here, because there's quite a few cool kicks up here that are still in the boxes. But this is like the overspill. This is where the shoes that I haven't seen fit to put on display, this is where they hang out. Check these out. Some Bapes. Pretty cool. Some more Bapes. These are cool. My missus actually brought these back for me from Tokyo. Pretty cool. People might be wondering, do you have any reps? I have one pair of reps. These Bape NMDs. And I actually got sent these. I thought they were legit, but as you can see, they most certainly are not. And when I messaged the seller to tell them that they were fake, they just told me to keep them. So yeah, I've just kept them. Don't really wear them. I've worn them once or twice, but yeah. So for people wondering out there, does bro have any reps? This is my one and only pair of fake shoes. And yeah, I've just kind of kept them for almost like a little sentimental reminder. I've had other reps before in the past that I've been scanned for, but I'll talk to you guys about that in a bit, I reckon. So a lot of people ask me, how long have you been collecting sneakers and what got you into sneakers? And I think it really goes back to 2009 for me. That's the point at which I started back on this journey. Now, I've been into sneakers since I was a kid, growing up in the 90s, watching Michael Jordan play, taping the Bulls games on TV, watching them back on VCR. I got my first pair of Jordans in '97, the playoff 12s. And so I've always been into sneakers at some level, and I'd always dreamed of having my own house with my own sneaker room, with my own sneaker collection. And here I am, absolutely living out that dream, which is, as you can imagine, a dream come true. This was the pair that pretty much got me back into sneaker collecting. 2009 Space Jams. This was, and still is to me, one of the best sneakers of all time. Really love these. Up until 2009, I'd been spending all of my money on traveling. So I moved to London 2007, and then pretty much just traveled non-stop around the world for a couple of years. And then in 2009, these came out right in December. So I picked these up in 2010, January. And this is the sneaker that pretty much started all of this right here. These right here, these are the sneakers you could say that started the journey for me. These were my very first Jordans back in the day. These are actually originals. These aren't the pair that I owned back in 1997, but these are originals. These are from 97, the playoff 12s. And these are actually still wearable. Like if I push down on these, you can see they're not separate. I mean, if I really pushed, I could probably separate them. But also check out the leather, man. I don't want to be that guy, but they don't make them like this anymore, fam. Like the leather is, it's just so nice. And even no cracking. Oh, actually there is a little bit of cracking, whoops. But yeah, so this is the shoe, my first shoe, first Jordan back in the day. And then this is the shoe that pretty much sparked my current sneaker collecting epoch off. So I guess those are two shoes that it would make sense to start with. For me, the whole sneaker collecting thing has generally revolved around my main passions, which are sports. I used to play a lot of basketball at high school and college, and so that's where my love for basketball shoes comes from. I also used to play a lot of tennis as well, and so I've always associated this idea of having fly kicks with being fly on the court, with performing and playing well and feeling well. And so the majority of my collection is definitely influenced by the love of sport. And for the longest time, my favorite sneakers were Jordans, Bronze, and Kobe's. And then beyond that, the main influences that I've had in my sneaker collection have come through musical artists that I've really enjoyed listening to over the years. Most notably, Kanye West. I was a huge Yeezy fan back in the day. Him and Pharrell definitely influenced me wanting to get a little Bathing Ape collection, which I'm stoked to say I have. And I used to be a big fan of Yeezy sneakers. So these are a couple from the Yeezy collection. These are the Yeezy 1 Zen Grays. You guys might remember this pair from back in the day. One thing that's kind of slept on about this shoe is the quality of the leather is actually really good on the upper. Obviously they borrow the midsole tooling from the Jordan 3. They have this cool strap, and something that you might not know about these is they're actually quite comfortable. I wore these, well, as you can see, I've worn these a lot, but I wore these last week and I was actually quite surprised just how comfy they are. They are definitely sleepers when it comes to the comfort, but this is one Yeezy model that I'm really stoked to have in the collection. So another one here, the Louis Vuitton Dons. I mean, crazy quality, man. Like, check the leather out. It's beautiful. And you guys might remember, but these were not that hype. Like, I mean, actually, it depends where you were. In Europe, these weren't, oh shit, that's the worst light. In Europe, these weren't actually that hype. Like, you could go into Louis Vuitton in different parts of Europe and pick these up. I mean, the sneaker game was just so different 10, 12 years ago, around the time when these came out. I think these came out like 2008, maybe 2009, something like that. But this was in a time where sneaker culture was still a real fringe thing, like a real kind of like underground thing, like collecting records or something like that. It was even more niche than that, I suppose. But a really cool shoe to have in the collection. They're actually quite comfy. In my opinion, one of Kanye's best sneakers ever. Now, one thing you guys might not know about me is I'm a little bit of a wheeler dealer. Love buying shoes, love collecting shoes, but I also love selling shoes and trading shoes as well. Like, I'm not a reseller per se, but I do like to occasionally sell shoes from my sneaker collection to buy more shoes or to just put into different parts of my life, whether it's the car or the house or whatever. And so as a result, my sneaker collection is constantly changing and evolving. I love trying out new models and new styles. And in recent years, I've gotten into SBs. I never really was big into SBs back in the day. In fact, I used to buy them when they would go on sale just to beat them up because they were so cheap. But because the SB market has become one of the biggest emerging collectible marketplaces, I've had a lot of success in recent years in buying and selling and trading SBs. And so let me take you through my Nike SB collection. All right, so this was one of the first pairs of SBs that I got. The great hands, great recovery. The Street Hawker SBs. Now, from what I remember, these are inspired by different Chinese dishes, and there's a whole, oh yeah, another recovery. And this is supposed to be the coin that you pay with. There's a prawn, and that's about all I remember. But it's actually the left shoe I prefer more. And this shoe here is one of those examples of, you know, when you guys see someone wearing a shoe and it totally flips your opinion on them. I saw someone wearing these downtown in London, and I thought, damn, those are cool, man. So I got these, I want to say off StockX a few years ago for a pretty decent price. Prices are pretty low on these now, but yeah, that was like my first pair of like collectible SBs. The What the Pauls, man. These are one of my favorites because I'm a big fan of What the shoes. I love how they've got all these, you know, different references to P-Rod shoes, the Mexican blankets, you know, the championship belts, the P-Rod ones, the hemps. Like, there's all sorts of cool references to the old school P-Rod collabs. I mean, I think P-Rod's, he's in pretty esteemed company in terms of the amount of signature shoes he's had. But yeah, big fan of the What the Pauls. Next ones, the DJ Clark Kent 112 Primitives. If you guys have been around in sneaker culture for a while, you should know who DJ Clark Kent is. I mean, the dude is a legend, not just a DJ, but producer, worked with Jay-Z, worked with Biggie, and the whole 112 pack is pretty legendary, from the LeBrons that he worked on to these. The only thing that's a bit of an L is this 3M material is hella prone to creasing, and it's because of that creasing and how egregious it becomes almost instantly as you wear them that's put me off wearing them. So this is one of those pairs that I actually got some crease protectors in these because someone sent me some shoes with some crease protectors in them, and so I put them in them. So I've only worn those once because I'm terrified of creasing them. L take hype beast. Next up we have the Habibis. These are the skate frames, or the frame skates. You can see they got the falcon on the tongue, and these are supposed to be in commemoration of like Dubai or the UAE. They've got the colors there, the desert sands represented on the gum sole. There's supposed to be some kind of, what is it? It's like a fountain, and that the fountain in Dubai is represented by the design on the insole. Sorry, that's bad camera action there. But I like these a lot anyway. They give me sort of Chicago vibes. Love a gum sole, so big fan of those. The skate frame Habibis, I got those off a sneaker reseller here in the UK for, I want to say, about 550 pounds, about $650. These two, big fan, big fan. These are the, what are they called, the Bark Root Brown or something? The Bark Root Brown SBs. You know, I'd love to have a pair of the Stars, you know, the early Stars highs from the SB collab, yeah, but they go for crazy money. But really, really like the Bark Roots, man. Flipping cool shoes. Got these off eBay, I want to say for about 400 pounds, like about 500 bucks. And considering how good a condition they're in, I'm pretty happy with that. But these, I like a little bit more, man. These are exciting. You guys remember when these came out? They had a bit of hype around them, but people were kind of caught off guard when the resale prices just absolutely exploded. People didn't really see these going for the amount that they did when they first dropped, and you can kind of understand why. I mean, they're just freaking cool, man. This is one of my favorite SB Dunks. I like how loud they are. Big fan of the lime green. Worn them twice, I think, and I got these for 550 pounds, I want to say, about 550, which isn't bad. It's a lot of money, but cool shoe. Coming down to the Jarritos, one of the coolest shoes this year. I paid resale on these, but I got into these before the prices went bananas. So I paid 350 pounds, which is about 400 bucks. Now they're going a little bit bananas. Now these are Dunks, but they're not SBs. And this is actually the rarest pair in my collection. So really stoked to have these. These are the 2004 NERD Dunk Highs, collab with Pharrell Williams, Chad Hugo Shea, really iconic shoe, limited to 1,050 pairs. These are still DS. I got these in a crazy trade deal, the details of which I can probably share with you. Well, you can see there's the number, 1,050, still DS, UK 10, US 11, OG all. It's one of those shoes that I just haven't really had the occasion to break them out for just yet, but yeah, this is the rarest shoe, and I'm a big fan of NERD. In Search Of, Fly or Die, probably In Search Of, my favorite album. A little bit dusty, that's a bit of an L there. What next? Here we go, cruising through. Fly Streetwear, SBs, one of my favorite pickups so far this year. Shout out to Board of South Sea, managed to get the retail dub through them on these. Really cool, very nice pair. And then down here we've got the 3 lobsters. These are the only lobsters I have. The orange lobs, the red lobs, and the purple lobs. And there you can see my pride and joy, the play button presented to, just so you know I'm not capping. Oh, the light's not gonna allow me. There we go, there he is. Jordan Young. Woo, I was gonna get Sneakonomics, but I thought, you know, if I wanted to convince my family that it was actually me, because, you know, they might think I'm capping, they're not really on YouTube like that, I should probably get it with my name on it just to make it a little bit more legit. Otherwise they might say, nah, you stole it. All right, coming down here. So Lost and Founds, these aren't really part of the SB collection. I've just got them over here for no real good reason. But I had on these for retail last year, which was pretty cool. got exclusive access, which is like my first and only exclusive access in a number of years. Normally when I get exclusive access, it's something that I don't want. But in this case, I was happy to get these. I feel like this is still one of the most overrated shoes of all time. The Chicago ones. Chicago ones didn't really go off like that back in 2015. In fact, just to make a nice smooth segue there and use 2015 as a launch pad to shoot from, this was the Jordan 1 of 2015, not the Chicagos in fact, the shattered backboards. Yeah, these are nice. Quality, amazing. Colorway, iconic. This was the best shoe, or the best Jordan 1 of 2015. So next up we've got these, the Sean Cliver SBs. I'd always wanted these, but the prices were just crazy. So the story around these is I actually got these from eBay, but for free. I did an ad campaign with eBay earlier in the year, and as part of the campaign, they wanted me to grab a pair of shoes from their website, and so this is the pair that I chose. Really cool sneaker though. Love the colorway, love the suede, really nice leather, gold swoosh. Always happy to wear those. So that's those. These here are the, what are they called again? These are the, oh, I can edit that. Next up we've got the Run the Jewels SBs. Just a cool colorway. Another retail pickup, love those. These ones here are the Phillies SBs from the baseball pack, and nice colorway. Big fan of those, worn those a whole bunch. These are one of my favorite SBs from last year that dropped. Retail pickup, the Paisleys. I think you can either like dye them or you can cut off the ripstop material, but I like them as they are, to be honest. But this, in my opinion, is one of the best SBs from last year. These bad boys here, these are called like, I think they're called like the Russets or something like that. This is an orange label SB, which comes with the orange box, and they're usually just reserved for skate shops, but material really nice on these. Actually one of the more comfortable SBs, these bad boys. And contrastingly, these are one of the most uncomfortable. These are the Huff San Francisco SBs. You guys will know that you can cut this bit off here, which reveals the tie-dye pattern that comes from the original Huff highs. But nice sneaker, really nice colorway. They have started to loosen up actually the more I've worn these, so they're now tolerable. But for the longest time, these were just an absolute shocker to wear. Last few SBs, we've got these are the Sea Crystals, 2016 I think. Yeah, 2016. And I like the colorway a lot on these. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of green. They almost remind me of like a Diet Heineken, but it's an E-Shod wear shoe. And the big difference with these is that the liner is a lot more streamlined. They've also got the thinner tongue. Puts some SB collectors off because, you know, technically they don't have that SB padding and the fat tongue that's iconic, but I like them. I think they're cool. That was an eBay pickup actually. I think I paid about 200 pounds. Another retail one, the Fruity Pack from last year. You guys remember the Fruity Pack? These are the sour apples. Retail pickup from Sneakers app. Pretty cool. Haven't worn these yet, but we'll definitely break them out soon. And the eBays. These are polarizing, man, because a lot of people don't like these, and it's understandable. You know, they're pretty horrific if you're looking at them from a pretty neutral standpoint. But if you're a collector and you appreciate the backstory and you don't mind, you know, the sort of different look about them, then they're pretty cool. But yeah, most people not big fans of those. And then last up, we've got these, the MF Dooms. I actually got these alongside the NERD Dunks in a trade for a jacket that also included a whole bunch of other sneakers as well. But yeah, big fan of Doom, super villain, worn these a whole bunch. They're actually quite comfortable. So yeah, big fan of these as well. One of my favorite sneakers in the whole collection. Okay, so we'll move on to the middle row now. This is kind of like the centerpiece, literally, of the whole collection. Starting up here, these are the Black Cements or the Bred 4s. This is actually the 2019 release. And I can remember when these dropped back in 2019, I was super excited because of the Nike Air on the back. We hadn't had that since the 99, so really cool pair. The hype on 4s wasn't anywhere near what it is now back in 2019, so these actually weren't that difficult to come up on. And I can remember getting EA for these on the Sneakers app a week early before they dropped. And yeah, it's just an absolute staple, like one of the sneakers that you should have in the collection for sure. It's not my favorite four though. My favorite four of all time have got to be these, the white cements. I've worn these a whole bunch. You can see the netting is starting to go a little bit, which I don't mind actually. I don't mind that whole look. I mean, in fact, a lot of the sneakers coming out these days come inbuilt with this pre-aged look to them. And so I like the fact that that's all natural. But yeah, white cement, definitely my favorite Jordan 4 of all time. And then the fire reds, these are still DS, I'm embarrassed to say. Still haven't broken these out yet. And these actually went on sale when they came out last time in 2012. I can remember buying them here in London on sale back in 2012. But obviously back on that release, you didn't have the Nike Air on the back. So one of those sneakers that you've got to have in the collection for sure if you like the OG models. And I'm looking forward to next year potentially completing the set with the military blues. One of this year's best retros so far, the Thunders. I have had the 2012 pair before, but I sold my pair in preparation to get these. And I think it's really cool that these are floating around at the moment for barely above retail or whatever. So very cool pickup to have this year. These are the original Lightnings from 2006. You guys will be able to tell not only just from the shape, but also the netting. So you see how the netting is a lot more vertical. When I share this shoe online, I get lots of comments from sort of young, smart aleck whippersnappers saying, those are fake, man, those are fake. Look at the cage, look at the netting. But on the 06 pairs, which you can tell, I don't know if you can get the size label in there, but the old school size labels are a good giveaway. And also just the general shape. Like if you compare the shape between the 06 pairs and the new pairs, it's a lot different. These are a little bit more like a banana. But this for a long time was a bit of a grail. To be fair, the midsole is starting to soften a little bit. It won't be long before these start to separate. The bubble was a bit cloudy, but it is what it is. That's what happens with these older pairs. I've had these for a long time and they were at one point fetching a lot of money, but now they're obviously bricks. 2013 Toro Bravos. Again, you can see the vertical netting. So you see even as recent as 2013, the netting was straight on the Jordan 4s. So anyone out there that wants to be a smart ass and say, hey mister, those are rips, forget about it. But yeah, the Toros 2013 was definitely a hyped shoe in 2013. A lot of people were camping, a lot of people were trying to get their hands on these, but it wasn't that difficult to come up. These weren't that hard to get, depending on what shop you went to. Armamaniers, these are, probably the most uncomfortable Jordan 4. The reason they're uncomfortable is just because of this liner. The quilted liner definitely sucks up some space on the inside. So I find these comfortable if I take the insole out. Ironically enough, the insole is supposed to be more luxurious, but the sneakers are made more tolerable and actually luxurious by removing that feature. But it's a cool shoe, definitely good quality on them. Just take a little bit of time to break in. Travis 4s, big fan of the colorway, big fan of this model. The only problem with the Travis 4s is that the material is very quick to age. Like these don't hold up that well that long. Like if you've seen beaten pairs of Travises, you'll know that they look like absolute trash once they've been beaten a bit. This material on the upper is not the best, but that's only just more reason to never wear them. No, I'm only joking. It's even better reason to keep them in good condition. So this is the type of pair that I'll insert the shoe trees into to help keep the creases at bay and maintain the shape with. SB4s, one of the shoes of the year this year. Been speaking a lot about these. Very cool retail pickup. Happy with that. And then here we go with some of the hype pairs. The Off-White 4s. This is a US or a women's 12.5. UK 10 or men's US 11, and picked these up for £900, which isn't too bad on the resale. Not crazy. I wore these to SneakerCon London last December and lost the hang tag. So yeah, these don't have a hang tag, unfortunately. That's a bit of an L, but very cool shoe nonetheless, and £900 isn't too bad. The Black Cores, really nice pair. Love the quality on these pairs here. The Cores are pretty awesome. I'll bring out the gray pair side by side so you guys can get a vibe for them. Don't know if you can see the quality. I mean, it's kind of hard. Like the black pair is hard to get a read on because of how stealthy it is in terms of like the mouse paw prints and stuff. But yeah, gray Cores, black Cores, two of the more sort of hyped up 4s in the collection, but very happy to have that set. They are very cool sneakers. I wear the black pair, but I still haven't broken out the gray pair since I got them. Moving on to the Travis Lows, the Fragments. Yep, very cool pair. I mean, all of these pairs that I've picked up here, these hyped up ones, I actually picked them up with, you know, money that I'd made from selling sneakers. So usually when it comes to getting kicks in the collection, I'll be able to afford them by just selling stuff that I'm not wearing. So the Fragments, made a few videos about that because the problem that I had with this pair is the blue bleed from the laces. You guys can see the bleed out from the previous owner installing the blue laces. That was a bit annoying. One of my favorite sneakers in the whole collection, the Air Yeezy 2s. This was like my first big grail sneaker. First sneaker that when I got it, I was like, wow, you know, I'm a winner. I'm an absolute top banana. And yeah, these have got a very special sentimental place in the collection. As well as that, they're probably one of the more valuable pairs I have in the collection too. Reverse Mochas. I love wearing these, to be honest. Really cool shoes. I never really was into Jordan 1 lows, but with the Travis stuff, man, he alerted a lot of people to the Jordan 1 lows, and I found them to be a really wearable sneaker. So Reverse Mochas are probably my favorites out of all the Travis lows. The Olives, I picked these up this year on the resale market. I think I paid something like 900 pounds, about $1,000, and then I completely forgot to put them in my top 10 for this year, but these are definitely in the top 10 of this year's releases. And finally, with the Travis Lows, these are all my Travis kicks, by the way. The OGs, definitely a cool pair. Got these for like 700 pounds, maybe 720, and it's a good steal. They've been pretty well used though, but big fan of these as well. The Zion Williamsons, these are one of those shoes that have really shot up a lot in value over the past sort of 3 to 6 months. I think a lot of people understand that the colorway is pretty cool. It's a wearable shoe. Dope sneaker, so love those. Atmos, Air Max 1s. I don't have many Air Max 1s, but this is my favorite pair for sure. Very cool shoe. The reason I like it a lot is because of the elephant print. The elephant print is awesome on these, and that's the main reason why I like them. But yeah, that's a bit of a grail. And the Levi's 4s. You guys might remember the Levi's collab when it came out. Was yeah, I mean, it was pretty big. A lot of people were going pretty hard for it, but I think this is the best out of the Levi's that came out. Definitely the easiest to mess up as well, that's for sure. And continuing, the last big hype shoe here are the Union 1s. I actually got these in a trade for a pair of Off-White 4s that I got for retail. So in a roundabout way, via trade proxy, you could say that I actually got these for retail. And this is another one of those sneakers that didn't really go for a whole bunch initially. It took people a little while to sort of warm to these, and then once people warmed to these, the prices went bananas. But yeah, Union 1's probably my favorite out of all the Unions ever made. And then to finish off this row or this column, we have the 2015, I'm pretty sure it was 2015, Maroon 6s. Now this was the first sneaker in a long time that had actually come out with the Nike Air on the back. For the longest time, you just had the Jumpman on the back of retros. And so when these came out with the Nike Air on the back, it was like, we're back, man. We're back to the OG form. So really cool sneaker. Definitely one of the most slept on Jordan 6s. I mean, it's an OG colorway as well, don't forget. And just beautiful, love those. Probably the best 6 of all time. The Black Infrareds. You know, these are one of the best Jordans of all time, period. And when these got a retro in 2019 with the Nike Air on the back, that was an awesome time as well. I think before that we had the 01s, which is the pair that I showed you guys up in the loft. And for a long time, what people would do is they would actually get the pairs from 01 and then they would just midsole swap them with the more recent retros. But having them come back out again in their original form, brilliant. And last but not least, the Carmines. Awesome pair. Still DS, still haven't worn these, which is a little bit embarrassing, but don't worry, we'll get around to it. Very cool pair. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of part 1. Make sure you guys are following, make sure you're subscribed, drop a like on the video, comment, and let me know if you guys are keen for part 2. where we're gonna go through the rest of this room and I'll take you guys up into the loft. Take care for now and peace.